and let's do it, and let's do it big. Love you guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, yeah, and guys, they're so right about that, right? I've been in so many coaching groups where I was a member of the coaching group and I would watch and like nobody was doing it. And it was like, right now in this group, our success is tied to your success, right? That's why we set it up as a revenue share type concept. My goal is to make you successful. We're going to do it together. But nevertheless, I want to take you to the back end. Can you all see my screen now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So where I am is I'm in the back end. I'm going to give you a link so that you guys can go to this page when this is over, and you're just going to create your username and your password for yourself, and you'll be able to log in here, and this is where all the information comes in. Now, the way that I've set this up specifically is of course, this is the intro page, and there'll be all kinds of details here. I'm kind of going over the intro with you right now, but it's because I just felt like there was a lack of clarity because we couldn't all get together in the same room because everybody was just hustling and bustling while we were there. So anyways, this page will kind of go over everything in your first day's homework. Then tonight at midnight, this first one will open up, the introduction to the race method. Okay, now these 5 lessons are actually pieces of the webinar that I did the other day with you. You guys pay attention not only to the training, but pay attention to how I'm doing it. These first 5 days is really, it's my 7-day challenge for people who are going to go through the race to 100K. You understand that? So
Yes.
you can actually do a webinar in 5 pieces and do a 7-day challenge like that. And so that they'll actually see the whole webinar. That's a real fancy thing called a sideways webinar. I don't want to confuse you with all that right now. But at the end of each day with each of these lessons, we have homework. This is not, Caleb mentioned, hey, make sure you learn a lot. Yeah, learn, but really this is about implementation. My goal is not to give you a lot of information. My goal is to give you exactly what you need to implement to get there as quick as possible. Because for me, like, results and mastery is about simplicity, not complexity. And so the more I can, instead of, I got to use the MMA analogy. I'm sorry, Tim, but instead of expending the energy of 20 punches to try and get somewhere, it'd be so much better if I could just slip and just one shot, right? Just boom, right? That's why this is called the race to 100K. There's lots of ways you can get to 100K slow. My job is to try and get you there the fastest and easiest way possible. And for me, out of everything I've tried in all of marketing of anything online, the fastest path has been the race method, okay? And so each day, another one of these will drip out. Now, Tim, for example, I talked to Tim the other day. He's like, I want to get there as fast and as quick as possible. 100%, I agree. These 5 days may feel slow to some of you and may feel overwhelming to the others. If you already have a product developed these first 5 days, you're going to be like, I already know. But the thing is I need to go through that development process with you to make sure everything's aligned at the end. Because when stuff gets like even just a little bit out of line, you'd be amazed. Just a little bit of change between what you're offering and what your course is, all of a sudden nobody's buying. And then you shift just a little bit and all of a sudden like more are buying, right? So I want to make sure I go through that with you in that process. And so these 5 days is really more decision making, deciding who you're helping, how you're helping them, how much you're going to make, how much you're going to price, all that kind of stuff. We're kind of making those decisions here. That's week 1. When you guys get to week 2, we call that the attract portion. And the attract portion is where we start building out that 7-day challenge step by step. By the end of this week, you're going to have the entire 7-day challenge built, and the nurturing, like all of the text, emails, and all that stuff that automatically follows up with them to keep them in, that'll be built by the end of week 2. Is that hard? That day 1's pretty easy. Day 2 is the first time we do anything that's online. So Faye, if you're not real comfortable online, I'm literally going to be doing it on the screen with you, step by step by step, so you can do it with me.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Days 1 through 3 is really content creation for it. The content should be easy for you guys because you already know what you know, right? It's just a matter of getting it out there. The lead nurturing of day 5, that's pretty difficult. That's going to be like the text and email follow-up. There's a little bit of text stuff, okay? The next week, we're building out your entire webinar so that at the end of your 7 days, we're going to have your webinar entire built. And then the next week, I know Faye, for example. Jen and Chris, do you all have your product created to help people? Like, is all the content already recorded and stuff for that?
No, I just have an outline of all of the content.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, because I may make some changes as we go along the way. So it's kind of better that you don't have it done.
Okay, cool.
Because that's what we're going over day by day inside of Deliver, right? So the way I tell people is, you know, it's a race, but the overview is probably going to take you about 5 days. So figure a week, because you'll take the weekends off. The attract portion is probably going to take you the first 7 days. The convert section, to me, that's hard. It's not easy to build a converting webinar. I'm going to break it down day by day. That's probably the most intense week. And then Deliver is actually building the product out. And I'll say one other thing. Most people build their product and then go sell it. We're actually going to sell the product and then build it together with the clients that you brought in, day by day, right?
I love that. I've definitely heard that from some successful marketers, and that's a great way. And maybe you'll probably, I'm sure you're going to be running through that with. It might even be that we're building out like pieces of it, like, you know, if it's got 7 modules, we're going to do 1 or 2. That way, there's progression, because they don't need it all anyway in one week. That way, they're getting it dripped out, and we can. I got you. Cool.
Yep. Yeah. So that'll be week 3. So really, what's going to happen is in your first 14 days, you're going to have the first 7-day challenge built out, and maybe not have you know what your product is. You're going to know what you're going to sell week 1. You're going to know the results you're going to deliver week 1. You're going to know the breakup of modules week 1, right? But you're not actually going to build all that till probably week 3, and you're going to build that out with your clients. And that actually makes the product better, because you get feedback right away and you can make adjustments. Okay. So really, at the end of 14 days is when you'll launch the first 7-day challenge. So at 21 days, we should start making money, unless something went wrong, it wasn't aligned, and we have to tweak stuff, right? So at 21 days, my goal is for you to be making money at day 21. Is probably about as fast as you can do it. Maybe if some of you are crazy and just like, Joe, I just want to go, I want to go more. And it's like, okay, like I'll release some of that training earlier, and you may be able to get your first one done in 14, right? And then from there, then the whole race method switches from knowing what to do to some of the bonus trainings, along with mini webinar for overflows, the sales process if you're driving sales calls for high ticket things, or just in general tweaks that you can do to improve maybe the text message you're sending out. You'll see which you start looking at the stats to improve it all, and then you just repeat, right? Until it's just like it's a machine. That's what we're building out over the next 3 to 4 weeks, and then from there another 60 days, right? And you should be at 100 grand by that 90-day mark. But if not, as you guys know, we're going to continue work with you until you do. So Matt's bonus trainings, other bonus trainings, things I haven't even told you guys about, that'll all come in the bonuses. But I just want you to just go ahead and take it day by day with it. Most days it'll be 15 minutes to 30 minutes of work, because I know you guys are doing other things. As you get deeper, maybe in Convert Week, it could get to an hour a day of work. If you get behind, no big deal. If we need another week, no big deal, right? But I'm gonna push you as fast as you want me to push you. Let's put it that way, right? And I want you to get results. So I would say at a bare minimum, at the end of the first month, we should have ads on, 7-day challenge on, and we should be driving people to the webinar to have either conversion conversations or conversions happening from the webinar. Am I making sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sweet. Questions for me? Oh, by the way, when you join the intro, before I get to questions, the first thing you're going to see is this page. This will be the only page you have access to at first. And I'm really going over a lot of what's on this page here, but I wanted to do it personally with you all. I'm going to have you click there, and when you click there, it'll take you over to this private Facebook group. So that's the group that we're all in. That is the best place. 1, you're going to be posting a lot of homework assignments in there. 2, that's the group where you want to cheer everybody else on. This is a community. We're all trying to do big things. So share questions, customer service issues, anything like that. That's the best place to do that. Me, Melody, Eric on my team, plus Matt and his team are all like connected to that group. And so we're there to answer your questions and be there for you. I found it's better to post in there. Like sometimes people message me and text, and that's cool. Like I'm cool doing that. But I've just found it's more helpful to the group overall if you ask your questions in the group, because then everybody can see it. Because if you're struggling with it, somebody else may be too. And I may need to tweak something that was obvious to me, but wasn't obvious to you all inside the training. So that's the first place to go. If you're having any issues or we can't like get that solved, I'm just like, hey, let's jump on a call, right? We just jump on a call, or we schedule a call if you need to, or whatever. I'm here to coach you through it. My results are tied to yours. So that's kind of how it all works. So questions? Wow, I do such a good job.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Well, I have one just.
There we go.
one
I
quick
knew it. I
question.
knew I couldn't do that well. I think Chris was first. Go ahead,
For
Chris.
some reason, it told.
No, Faye can go. Go for it, Faye.
Faye?
Well, it's just that my screen went off when you were saying about the Facebook group. And so just as I was about to write that, it disappeared.
You don't have to write anything. You'll go into the group, and all you got to do is when you go into the group, click that big orange button, and it'll take you into the group. And don't worry, I'll walk you through it when we get there.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Don't worry. I'm going to be sending you guys, I'll send you guys all the link on text message. So all you got to do is click it. You'll create your username and password, and you'll be in this group right here. And literally just go as lessons appear, you go over there, watch the video, and do what it says. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. You're on.
Thanks, Faye. Hey, Joe, I'm probably jumping the gun a little bit and getting into the details, but I think I told you that's who I am. We're going to be building the product with our first set of challenge people, right? How often do you go back and like tweak the videos that are part of that challenge?
Our first set of videos that we did, we haven't had to tweak them yet. That doesn't mean you won't, but it's, you know, that there's things, you know, that don't really need a lot of adjustments.
Okay,
Are there
cool.
efficiencies we can change? Sure. I'll give you an example because I know you want details, and I'm gonna feed you with some of the juicy details. So here's the deal. There's two ways, and you're gonna learn this week one. There's two ways to do your 7-day challenge. Okay. Way number one, I talked about a little bit in my presentation on Saturday, and that is you draw a line, point A, point B, and you say point A is where somebody is, point B is where you want them to go, or where they want to go. It's better stated. And there's steps along that path, right? So you're building products. What, for example, would be an end result that somebody would want for that? Is this the business where they have a product on the shelf at Walmart? That would be B?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So along that path, there's steps, right? That first hash mark, maybe the second hash mark, is where you're going to try and get people in that first 7 days, whichever one's possible and whichever one's kind of like, wow, this is great. These people are awesome. I believe they can get me there, right? So that's one way to do it, is this incremental sequence, and you just take them, you get them results to step 1 of 5. Does that make sense so far? That's one option.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Option 2 is what I'm doing right here. And this is, you may or may not follow this. I don't know how familiar you are with marketing. But when you do a webinar, and I don't know if you were there when we talked about marketing all day on Saturday, like earlier in the day. When you do a webinar, the real idea of a webinar is to prove one single idea, right? So for me, and let me just share a screen. For me, can I share the screen? I don't think you guys, let me share it. I'm just going to stop the share for a second. Let me share the screen so you can see it here, Chris. Are you guys seeing today's exercise?
Not yet. Yep.
There it is.
There we go.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So this is like the slides for my intro to my webinar, okay? Follow me for a second. Just stick with me for a second as my boys and my wife are coming in. Everybody say hi to Alex and Justice and Melody.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Just be quiet. Just kidding.
That's what we told our kids too.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the deal, Chris. Like, you have one idea you want to prove in a webinar. And so for me, notice how I'm saying first week in this webinar slide. What I do is I take an entire webinar and I break it up into 5 days, because there's 5 parts to a webinar. Part 1 is the intro. Part 2 is the origin story and the overview of the method. It's called the vehicle. This making sense so far?
Yep.
Part 3 would be, so when I want to prove this one singular point, and by the way, we go over this really deep when we get to the convert part of the training, but when I want to knock down a single idea, the big domino, the big thing I want to knock down, that if they believe this, they have to buy, right? The thing that I proved on Saturday was the quickest and easiest way for you to grow to 100K is using the race method. That's what I proved. Guys, you're being too loud. Sorry. Is kids. I love them, but they're too loud. That's what you want to prove. That's the big idea. Well, there's 3 reasons why someone wouldn't believe that. And really, there's only 3 big overarching reasons why people don't believe anything. One is they don't believe that the race method actually works. For you, it's going to be whatever the name of your system is to get things onto Walmart shelves. We're going to name it. Is this making sense so far?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. The second reason that they wouldn't believe is they may believe that your method to get things on the shelf at Walmart works. But then the second big objection you have to overcome is, does it work? Could I actually execute that method? Am I capable of doing it? Right? That's called the internal. That's part 3. Part 4 is what we call the external beliefs. The external beliefs are, is there some outside force that would stop me from doing this? So for example, if somebody's watching your training, Chris and Jen, and they see that Walmart doesn't buy things that are explosive, right? And they're selling flamethrowers, right? Or something, right? Well, that'd be an external objection on why they couldn't get their thing on the shelf of Walmart. Therefore, even though they believe your vehicle works and even though they believe they could do it, they know that there's some external reason why they can't, right? That's part 4 of a webinar, dealing with people's external objections. They're false external objections. And then lastly, number 5 is the stack or the offer, right? So like when I said, okay, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get this, you're going to get this, you're going to get this. And like setting up that whole pitch for actually selling the product, that's part 5. Now, why do I say that? Because what we do, now I need to stop this here. Let me just stop this slide here. Let me share my other screen now. Sorry, I wasn't ready for that, but I'm answering on the fly here.
You're good, yeah.
So notice this intro, part 1, part 2, part 3. See, and then stack, right? So you can actually make your 7-day challenge as what's called a sideways webinar, where all 5 parts are covered, and then on the last day you make your offer, right? And so those are the 2 different ways that you could put content inside of your 7-day challenge. Way 1 gives a sequence, and at the end does a webinar. Way 2 is actually doing the webinar the whole time with little exercises at the end of each part, and then at the end you make your offer. Really elaborate answer. I hope I didn't get too deep. Did that make sense though?
Perfect.
Yep, you got it.
So when you ask how often will you make those changes, we started with a sequential webinar. In other words, we got them 1 of 11 ways that we could help them get $1 million in real estate sold. And then we took them through that process. But we're actually switching now to a sideways webinar model, because if we can just get more people to see the webinar, now that it's working that well, we'll make way more money. And so I'm basically going to show them the webinar throughout the 7-day challenge by breaking it up into 5 days. It's almost exactly like big companies do product launches, but it's in the challenge. And they're getting it for free. I think it's genius. It's fun.
I have a question for you, Joe.
Yes, sir.
Since you've set up this format for marketers like ourselves, entrepreneurs, to get, race to 100K, how long has that? Have you had other people that have then done this, or is this something that's newer for you in terms of the results? What do we have for feedback so far?
Yeah, so it's newer. I've got in April is when I took over that company. I've been doing all of these things. I've done webinars, as you could imagine, right? Because I'm a marketer. The interesting thing is you guys, we talked a lot about him at the thing. Russell Brunson, who's a friend of the family, he mentioned, he's like, hey guys, he's like, they call him the king of online funnels. He's like the greatest funnel I've ever run. And he just started it. People just started doing challenge funnels like this intensely less than 6 months ago. So this is like cutting edge stuff. He said, the challenge funnel is the best funnel I've ever run in my life. And he said that as a sentence. He wasn't teaching it or selling it. He just mentioned it in passing. And I was like, dude, when the king of online marketing says the challenge funnel is the best funnel he's ever run in his life, pay attention. I think everybody else in the room missed it. So what I did is I went and started implementing, right? And so we've been split testing different things. And then I found some other friends who are marketers who are split testing different things. And then funny enough, like we just been crushing it, right? In all these different niches. It's like anything that has a result is what it's working. Anything that has an end result is what it's working for. Well, then the funny thing that happened was when I got to Matt's this week, and Caleb and I both turned around our computers to show our funnels, like we both had a challenge funnel at the first part of it. And so then I started telling Caleb, hey, like add this in, add that in, do this to do this. And he's like, oh my gosh, like we didn't even think of that. We didn't think of that. So it's like, yeah, so it's newer. It's newer in the marketing community in general, but it's crushing it. It's kind of like, it used to be back in the day, guys, that if you wanted to get somebody as a lead, you'd do a free report that says the 5 best ways to, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, compare that to a challenge funnel where it's like for 7 days, they're basically getting coaching from you inside of a group. It's such a great offer for people who actually want the results, which is your ideal customer. And it's just principally based. That's why it works. Does that answer your question, Tim?
Yeah, and to that point, that's a great answer. Thank you so much for that. Now, am I correct too in that, in the same way that we're in a 0 to 100, 100K challenge, 60 to 90 days, that what we're going to be marketing to people is a challenge as well then? Am I correct in that?
Yeah,
Because
you're watching me do it while I do it, right? While you do it.
See, the really cool thing about this for us to learn this is really stepping into marketing. Now, it's really good for, I haven't mastered, going through all this and put in the time that you have, but I've read .com secrets and expert secrets. So that's like, I don't think you'd want to proceed without doing that at the very least. But then once you do that and you're involved in ClickFunnels and this type of a system, that we're kind of stepping in here at the top, at the penthouse floor, at the top, saying like, we're going here, so all we have to do is master this. Now, what comes after this in future times, who knows? But we just need to master this and say, now we're the masters of doing challenges and could just keep taking the compensation that we earn from this, putting it right back in, and there's really not any limit to what can come out on the output side. Yes?
It keeps repeating. Especially, you're on the personal growth side, right? So it's like, how many people need personal growth, right? So your market doesn't end. You just keep putting challenges out there. And even if you decided to shift your business, you would just shift the result that you're offering. So you'd shift your challenge, right? And just repeat the process. The book Tim's talking about is this book right here, Expert Secrets. I'll put a link in here so you guys can get it. Russell does a free copy. You can also watch how he does a free plus shipping offer on I'll put that in the group for you guys. If you don't have this book, you should get it. It goes deep into the webinars and stuff like that. Many of my friends who I've connected to, not because of me, for full disclosure, more so because of Emily, my daughter. I know you heard Emily's name a lot, but Emily's an awesome kid entrepreneur, and she opened a lot of doors for me to meet really cool people and high level people. And so I'm thankful for my daughter and her ambitiousness. This is by far, to me, the best book ever written on marketing. Besides, I'd be like the Bible #1, Expert Secrets #2. So I'll put a link in there so you guys can get that. Like I said, I will text you the link so you can get in here. So today, your only homework today is just to go to the intro, which is this page here, do the homework, watch it, or you're kind of watching it right now, even if you didn't watch the whole thing. Your homework is to post in the private group, introduce yourself, tell us what your business does and who you help, and call your shot. I want you to name it. So it should be over, say, 21 days. Like 21 days is the fastest that I would probably market for you all. Maybe I shouldn't set those false limitations, but it's just a good way. I want you to get a good foundation that's repeatable. In order to build that out, it's going to take a reasonable amount of time, right? So even if you get started with the challenge in 14 days, your conversion event isn't going to be for 7 days from then. So about 21 days is when you start making money. Okay.
I think this is really exciting, Joe. I just want to share that because I have the things that Russell Brunson has done, who obviously there's the baseline for this whole methodology. I mean, for people that are in marketing, knows he sold $3.2 million in what was it, 90 minutes at a convention. He's really great at doing that. So if what he's doing right now, the most cutting edge, the best performing, like in just terms of pure results, funnel is the challenge, then why wouldn't we just model that success? And we just happen to meet because we all attended the Maddix Mastermind. Then the next step is taking action and being committed like we all are on this call. And the next step is just doing the work and implementing it. And speaking for myself, I hope I don't have to wear pink earmuffs, but if I do, I will. Because I just say, like, it's one of my thoughts with the universe anyway. Hey, I surrender. And if you're going to be coachable, then we got to look at you as the coach in this matter here. And I trust. I have a level of trust. Hopefully, and I'm speaking for all of us. I'm sure we do, because here we are. So you tell us to do this, we'll do it, and we'll do it with all of our heart. I'll do it with all my heart. And I believe that there's an element of science, meaning if you do this, this will happen. And then there's an element of art that you still have to fill in the blanks and do the work yourself. But then if you do the art and the science, you'll get that result. Yes?
Yep, exactly. That's well put. So and if anybody has any questions, again, you can just post them in the group every day for the next really 14 to 21 days. Your new assignment will appear, and I'm watching, right? I'll be asking, right? There isn't 100 people in this group, right? There's like less than 10 right now total. So it's like, I'm watching, right? My goal is to be your coach. And that's the last thing I want to ask. I want to make sure that I have everyone's permission to coach them, which means if you tell me, Joe, I want to get there in 21 days or 30 days or 45 days or 60 days, then I'm going to be the guy that's going to be like, hey, you said you were going to do this, like, this is your objective, like, let's roll, like, let's make this happen. I'm there to help you through that and be a coach that I like coaches that like are helping me hit my goals instead of just like, well, if you didn't do it, it's your choice. Like the goal of this group, because we are partnered together, is like, hey, let's set a goal and then let's hit it. Right. Do I have permission from everybody to coach you through this?
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, it's going to be my pleasure. And I'm excited for you all. Any other questions about how the whole group works or any of that kind of? Celia couldn't be here. There's a couple of others that are already in there. Matt will be in the group as well. I think there's 2 others too. And so, yeah, that's any other questions?
I'm good.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm proud of you guys. You made a great decision. And thank you for jumping on last minute here with me. I just wanted to put it together because some of you had to leave early. Some of you, it was crazy at the mansion.
Hey, one last question. You're going to send us in an email the link to the Facebook group?
No, I'm going to text it to you right now. Yep.
What's that? You're texting it?
Yep, I'll text it. It's just a link. You literally just click it, and then it'll open up on your phone. You'll create you just put in whatever email you want everything sent to, and then your password. You create your own password, and then anytime you want to go back, you just use that link.
Okay.
Awesome.
Excited for you guys. All right. If there aren't any questions, I'll let you all go, and I'll get that link to you here in the next 15 minutes. I just got to email it to myself and then put it on the text message. That's the easiest way for most people. Oh, Jen.
Yeah.
I have your cell phone number. What am I thinking? Of course
Yeah. When we hang up, I'm going to text you Chris's so you can send it to him as well. That's cool.
That's perfectly cool. All right. Well, I'll talk to you all later. Everybody have a great day.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.